is up, friends? Rob the Medicare minister, and I'm back with a brand new spitting fire interview today with Mr. Will Schaeffer. Will you say hey to everyone real quick?
How's everybody doing?
All right. Well, I know Will's going to spit some fire for us today, and I'm excited to have him on the podcast. But before we jump into that, as always, I want to remind you to make sure to subscribe down below so that way you're notified every time a new interview like this drops. And plus all the other content that we're dropping every single week. Like, comment, share this episode with someone who you think needs to hear this, because our goal here is simply to put fresh wind in your sails and to help push you, inspire you, and motivate you to chase after your dreams. Because here's the bottom line: you deserve to win, and I want you to see that for yourself. So Will, thanks once again for being here, man. I know you're a busy guy, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes to drop some nuggets with us today, spit some fire with us. And as we jump into this today, I just want to hear a little bit of your story. We take just a few minutes and give us a little bit of your story, where you're from, what industry you're in, things like that.
Yeah, so physically I'm located in Maryland, but I'm licensed in 47 states now, so do business all over the country. And primarily the under 65 market, but we are doing more and more Medicare here lately.
Okay. And what kind of premium are you doing in the under 65 market, just for someone out there that says, why should I listen to this guy?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing a crazy amount of volume right now. To be truthful with you, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but we're, last month we were first in Heartland Nationals standings. We were second in Justin Brock's Guru standings just a couple months ago. So yeah, it's a great year so far. June has been crazy, so we're looking forward to keeping it going.
Yeah, and I saw your name up there. That's one of the things that attracted me and wanted to have you on, because I know the under 65 market's a little bit different than the Medicare market, and had Brad Hannon on a couple of months ago, and he was talking a little bit about that as well. So how long have you been in the under 65 market?
About 5 years now. I started at a captive agency. I was one of their top producers for 4 years. Then I decided to go out on my own, join Justin's team. It's been a great thing for our business. He's a very good mentor, knows the business in and out, especially the Medicare side. And yeah, I feel like, having a top under 65 producer on his team has definitely increased his business volume on that side as well. So we've helped each other out tremendously.
Sure. Yeah. So let me ask you this, because you were in a captive agency. I started off that way. My background was financial advising. Then I went into final expense, and everybody told me to stay away from Medicare because it was so hard. But what made you bet on yourself? What made you get out of the captive agency? Was it just you saw more freedom, more autonomy, you just saw really that maybe they were holding you back? Or what was the reason that you took that bet on yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I always bet on myself. That's just my nature. When I started as an agent, I had $500 to my name. And I had just gotten that a couple of days before. So, I'm a big fan of going after what you want in life and not making excuses and putting all the chips in the middle of the table. So, when you have a great deal of success in the business and you're able to build up a really good referral base, and you find other marketing opportunities that are better than what the FMO is doing, that's when it's time to move on. I mean, I had a great experience there, met a lot of great people, had great success, but I felt like I had kind of outgrown it and needed to move to a different spot in order to reach my full potential.
Sure.
So,
and now you're crushing it. You're putting up monster numbers. I know you're gonna do the same thing in the Medicare space as you're adopting that. But I'll ask you this, because I think that's spitting some fire there, man, betting on yourself. Why do you think so many people struggle with that, betting on themselves? Is it the way they grew up? Is it just the culture? Is it a mixture of several things? Or what is your opinion on that?
I think people get complacent and comfortable too often. They figure, well, I'm making 200,000 a year. All my bills are paid on time. Got a little money in the bank. Going on vacations. That's good enough. And I'm just a firm believer that no matter where you are, whether you're making 50,000 or 50 million, you can always do better. So, and the great part about our industry is that the more money you're making, the more people you're helping. Man. So it's not just about the money, it's what you can do for other people that wouldn't otherwise receive that help.
Sure. So you're a firm believer in the more value you provide. This is how I believe. The more value I provide in space, the money automatically comes.
Right. I mean, I always tell all my customers when I'm wrapping up with them, I'm not just here to sell you insurance and then go hide in a corner somewhere. Sure. I'm here to help you from this point forward. So if you ever have any questions about your policy, your benefits, if you want to add something like dental and vision, that's what I'm here for. I'm not, I'm here to help you all the way through. And that alone is a huge value and a big part of the reason that I've been able to build up such a big referral base in a short amount of time.
Right. That's awesome, man. And so this all in, all the chips on the table, taking whatever risk, betting on myself mentality. Was that something that you were just naturally born with? Is that something you saw modeled through a mentor or a family member of some sort or a coach or, whoever?
Well, I grew up poor. And then eventually we did become middle class, didn't have a whole lot of money. And I just made the decision very young in life. It took me a while to achieve it, but the decision that I made was that I never wanted my family, meaning my wife and kids and myself, to ever have to worry about money.
Man.
And that's what drives me every day to get up, put in 12, 14, 16 hours is the absolute fear of having to do without. So it's not all about the money per se, because I'm not even the slightest bit a materialistic person.
Sure.
It's about the freedom that money creates. Yeah, and that's what I'm after.
Yeah, and very similar story. I grew up with a single mom. I know you're talking about a poor family, but my mom had to work all the time. And so for me, there was a lot of limiting beliefs that kept me away from success, that were barriers. Was there a limiting belief in your life, maybe several, but just one in particular that you felt was a barrier from you get to that next level?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're kind of ingrained from a young age that where you start determines where you finish, and I just think that's absolute nonsense.
Sure.
I think that everybody has God-given capabilities, and it's up to you to realize what they are and put them to work. And you might have to try a lot of different things first before that ends up working out. I mean, it took me 32 years to get to the point where I could make more than 40,000 in a year. But the key is to never give up. Too many people give up and settle for far less than what they're capable of.
Sure. And so do you think that one of your biggest obstacles for you was just the fact that maybe in our mindset gets, well, this is the way it was, this is the way it's going to be? I run into a lot of people. My mom was never good with money. So I never saw, my mom was never good in business. And so I thought, well, I didn't want to be that way and had all these dreams and these ambitions to not be that way, but it was almost subconsciously programmed to me as a young man. And it wasn't until I got around just really high, successful people. And like you said, not just the money, just successful in all areas I began to really believe in myself at a level that I'd never believed in myself for. Was there a mentor in your life or someone in your life that really helped push you to go to that next level?
I'm going to be honest, not really.
Okay.
It's something that I had always said as a kid is I'm not going to be average.
Man.
I'm going to reach my full potential. I'm not going to be average. I'm not going to be, poor middle class, anything like that. I mean, and I don't have anything against people who are happy and satisfied. And in a way, as weird as this may sound, I'm a little jealous of people that have that mentality, because they don't have to put in 18-hour days. We do, in order to keep things rolling. So if you're happy in your life, I don't care if you're making 10 grand or 10 million.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not satisfied,
Right.
which is probably 99% of the population, do something about it.
Yeah. And that's it, man. It's just taking action. And I tell people all the time, it's literally this much of a step from you achieving your dreams if you just take that small step and take action. That's some good stuff there. What about books? Do you read any books, or do you listen to any podcasts? Or is there anybody out there in the, that realm out there that really has inspired you, that's kind of helped you? I know you talked about Justin Brock, but has he been mainly influential? Has there been others?
Yeah, I mean, Justin's been great. Brad Hannon, I watch his YouTube videos all the time. Him and I swap ideas all the time. I even still keep in touch with people that have been very successful for a long time at the captive agency that I was with. And I listen to a lot of motivational speakers, Eric Thomas, Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, just people with fruit on the tree. And that's really what you want. I mean, you find people that are where you want to be in life, or maybe even bigger than you even care to get.
Sure.
And listen to what they've done to make themselves successful, and try to replicate that the best you can. It's a copycat world. I'm not the first person that's ever sold health insurance and made a lot of money. I was just willing to be coachable and work hard enough to learn things on my own that have helped me along the way too.
Yeah. And I have found in my journey, and what you said, I mean, I listen to a lot of those guys and others. I mean, I'm a podcast junkie, a YouTube podcast junkie. And it's because I have to feed my mind and my heart and my soul those things to keep me going. As you know, that on the phone and seeing people daily like we do here, it wears on you, man. It wears on you. You got to keep yourself that what I call fresh wind in your sails. And so a lot of people think it's cliche and cheesy, but I really take it seriously. It's like a bath, man. I got to have it every single day.
Well, your health is not just what you do physically. It's not just going to the gym or getting on a treadmill or anything like that. It's what you let in and out of your ears. It has a huge part to do with your health. And if you're not bringing that positive energy in, it's really, really easy to get caught up in the negativity, because that's what seems to sell everywhere we look. If you turn on the news, I don't care if the news that you're watching is right, left, or in between. All they talk about is negative things. They don't talk about what's going on that's positive in the world.
Right.
So negativity sells, unfortunately, to most people, but that's also a big part of why most people aren't where they want to be in life.
Yeah, definitely. So let me ask you this. I talk to different people. Of course, if you listen to motivational, these different speakers, everybody has their own definition of success. How would you define success?
For me, success is just having the freedom to dictate my own schedule, and money not being something that has to be on my mind 24 hours a day like it was for the first 32 years of my life. And I probably still worry about money a lot compared to most people that make what I make, but that's because of where I started, and never just being scared to death to ever go back to a situation like that.
Yeah. And I think I mean, growing up the way I did too, I think there's a healthy version of fear. It's
Yeah.
a fear that drives you to be the best, a fear to do no matter what, a fear to risk it all because you don't, I heard Ed Milet, who I listen to quite frequently. He said, I've been happy broke and I've been happy rich, and I definitely like being happy rich.
Yeah.
He gets happy broke because you can be broke and happy. He was just saying it's just a lot more fun having your own jet and Bentley and a big old house. And people think that's materialistic, but it's the truth. I have literally had to, back when I was a kid, you had to go collect cans. They had these little things in the grocery store parking lot where you put cans in. And because we were so poor, we would have to collect cans sometimes just to even get, save up enough money to get something to eat. And I promise you, I don't ever want to go back there again. And so I think it's a healthy fear.
I absolutely agree. I mean, whatever gets you out of the bed to put in the hours, to put in the work that's going to get you to where you're going to go is healthy, in my opinion. And fear can be a part of that equation, as it is for both of us.
Sure. And you're primarily do phone sales. That's part of the reason why you're in these 47, I think, states. You said, was the phone skill something that came natural to you, or is it something that you had to cultivate in your life?
Well, I did have to learn a lot about how to talk to people on the phone and gain their trust, because that's a big part of phone sales. I mean, it's sad but true in a sense that most people assume that you're a scammer until you prove that you're not.
Sure.
And that's why we shot a commercial that we put on our website. We've teamed up with secure agent marketing. That's just a big part of the phone sales aspect, because you want, just like you want to follow people with fruit on the tree, they want to see agents with fruit on the tree when they're selling over the phone, because they don't know what they're getting into. And the other thing is in the health insurance industry, especially under 65, there's a lot of pushers out there of plans that really aren't going to do much for you if something happens. So sure. A lot of people get caught up on those plans, get sold those plans, and you got to learn how to educate people, let them know how the under 65 market, what plan is going to fit and so forth. So there is a proper way to present all that. That is easy for the customer to understand, and that's the biggest hurdle as far as phone sales, learning how to do it.
Yeah, and it was that fear that we talked about that drove you, because I'm sure there was times you probably wanted to quit. That, man, I keep getting no's, I keep getting people that are not getting anything from me. Was it that healthy fear that just kept driving you during those times?
Yeah, I mean, I made 200 phone calls before I made my first sale. Wow. 200. I did it all in one day too. I made a commitment. I'm not leaving the pool till I make a sale today. And it was very, very, very minuscule as far as the amount of money that I made off of it, but it gave me the confidence to keep going. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if all I have to do is make 200 calls a day, that's still better, and maybe I can make 70, 80 grand. I had these big dreams of 80 grand back then. That's still double what I make right now, and I don't even have to leave the house. So, Yeah.
That's a great perspective. I think perspective is a big deal in our industry. Actually, in any industry, having the right perspective is big. And that's interesting that you would say that. I'd rather do 200 phone calls, as most people would give up after 10. And you did 200. You made this little sale, but it put that fresh wind. It gave you that boost of confidence to keep going. And now here you are, how many years later?
Five
years later. And you're a beast, man. You're putting up big numbers, and And it all started from that 200 phone calls.
Yep. Yep. So sometimes it just takes the smallest little thing to click in your head, and people who hop on, they might make a deal in their first 25 phone calls. There's other people who might take them 500 phone calls, but you never know until you dial the first number. And a big part of this business, I'm going to say 90% of it, is just being willing to show up and do the work, learn your craft, put in the hours, regardless of how many that is.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love what you said there.
That's why God made call.
Yeah. No, that's definitely spitting some fire there, man. And a lot of people don't work on their craft. They take it for granted.
No, I mean, I still to this day have agents from the captive agency I was with call me to ask me about policies. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you think I learned the policies? I wasn't in the room with Blue Cross Blue Shield to write the summary of benefits. I just click on the plan, pull it up, read it, top to bottom, front to back, whatever the case may be. That's a huge part of the success that I've had, because everything that I say is just second nature. I mean, if I'm talking to someone on Facebook and I get their zip code, I know what the plans are already in my head without looking them up. And it doesn't matter what state they're in. You give me a state, I can tell you every major medical carrier, every ancillary product, like bam, 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 bam. But it comes with time and being willing to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning when you need to wake up at 6, reading brochures. I mean, it doesn't get any more boring.
Sure.
But you have to have the discipline. Motivation comes and goes with whatever direction the wind blows. But if you have discipline and you make yourself do things that you don't want to do, that's what's going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah. Everybody wants the delight before the discipline, but a lot of times that delight is on the other side of discipline.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's some good stuff right there. Well, let me ask you this. I ask everybody that I interview this question. It's just interesting to me. If there was one word that you could use to describe yourself, what would that one word be?
I would say discipline, honestly. That's what it's all about. I mean, I have friends telling me all the time, like I don't know what it is with you, but you just power through things that I can't. That's what a lot of other agents have told me that. And I would say relentless discipline is what I have that has really helped me stay focused and keep my eyes on the prize.
Yeah. And the second part of that question, you've kind of answered already, but that relentless discipline, how has that helped you achieve the success? Is it just having the staying power, being committed to the goal no matter what?
Yeah. I mean, I wake up every day with a fear of having to worry about money. And the anxiety of, thinking that maybe one of my customers isn't getting taken care of good enough, even though I do everything I can. Sure. And it just drives, like, I just strive for perfection every single day. I'm not always perfect. I'm probably very seldom perfect, but I strive for perfection every single day. And if you do that with your business and you're willing to put in those crazy hours, at least when you're getting off the ground, a long way.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Striving for excellence, being perfect, striving for perfection and honing your craft and being excellent. All those things make a difference because would you agree that a lot of people treat their business like a hobby?
Yeah, there was a joke that, an agent that's actually in my hierarchy at this point, he was also with a captive agency. We made the joke before that there's too many people in this business working for beer money. Kind of like we all did in high school and college and whatever. You just put the part-time job, 15 hours, buy some beer on the weekends, hang out with your friends, and then, whatever else. So, don't treat this business like it's for beer money. Don't even treat it like it's a full-time job. Treat it like it is a business. It is your livelihood. It is, how many people you help, how many people depend on you. You got to take it super serious or you're never going to get over that first hurdle.
So is the fear, obviously we talked about this healthy fear that drives us not wanting to go back to not having to worry about money. What else is incorporated into your why? What else is part of your why that gets you up and drives you every day?
Well, my wife and kids, without a doubt. I mean, they're my entire world, and I'll do anything to make sure that they are able to live life to the fullest possible while still teaching my kids that, hey, I'm not just going to hand you stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta be a good kid. You gotta listen. You gotta do good in school.
Yeah.
You gotta be nice to people. But just trying to set an example to them of what it truly takes to be successful is a huge motivation to me, because I want them to get that head start that I never had.
Right. No, that's good, man. Passing on to that next generation. I love your whys because a lot of the young men that I get to mentor and have in ministry and then even just in sales and business is a lot of times initially your why starts out very self-centered, money, money, money. But today I've heard you talk about having freedom and providing value for your clients and your wife and kids. Was there a moment in your life where maybe your why initially was a little bit more me-centered? And I do believe as we grow and mature that we do evolve in our why. Like our why may start here early on, but was there a time in your life where that evolved to where it was more others focused, or has it always been others focused?
It's mostly always been others focused, but I mean, before I started in the insurance industry, I delivered medical equipment to people's houses that were getting ready to go on hospice. And I just remember seeing these nice big houses and, every time I went to one of these places, I would do everything I could within the comfort of the family to be like, what do you do? How can I learn how to do it?
Sure.
Yeah. And
that was a big thing for me, is just, looking at other people, fruit on the tree, trying to figure out what they did and how I could replicate it. Now, obviously, I didn't replicate any of those people, but I was interested enough to know that, bigger things were possible.
Sure. No, I agree. I totally agree. When I had a sales mentor growing up, and he had a big house, multiple businesses, and I did everything I could to hang out with him. And every time we were together, I'd ask him questions, what is it you do? How did you learn this? And, as a poor kid who was the oldest, having to watch his 3 siblings and his mom struggle at Chili's or some other restaurant to make ends meet. I'm like you, man. I wanted to know. And I really found out the secret was really simply like what you saying, showing up and taking massive action like there was no tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was looking for this, rainbow in the sky thing. And I came to realize that it was just showing up, man, and making no excuses and doing whatever it took. And sounds like you figured that out as well.
Yeah. And I mean, in the medical equipment industry, I had 2 owners of companies, separate companies that I work for, come and tell me, like, I know you're not going to be here forever. I know that you're going to do your own thing one day. So if you need any tips, any advice, anything like that, always feel free to come to me.
And it was just because even when I was just an employee and basically just a grunt, I treated it like it was my business. I showed up every day trying to be the best medical equipment guy that there could be.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't paying much and it was a grueling schedule and physical work. And, most of the time I didn't like it at all, but I did everything I could to be the best. And I think regardless of what you do in life, that should always be your goal, is to be one of the best.
Yeah. Will, you're spitting some fire, man. I just listened to a podcast today from the great coach Dabo Sweeney, and he says that be great where you are because you never know who's watching. Be great where you are.
That's a great quote.
Yeah.
I prefer Urban Meyer, but
hey,
that
man.
was a great quote.
My brother's a big Gators fan, so he's a big Urban Meyer fan too.
I'm Ohio State. So
hey, there you go. Yeah, and I really loved what he said, because he talked about when he was a GA and that how he got set up for the job at Clemson. But that what you said, he took that GA assistant job, whatever he did, whatever role, he took it seriously. And he said, you never know who's watching. And he went on to say this, and I thought it was really interesting. He said, everybody wants to be a winner, but nobody wants to be prepared to play.
Right.
That's basically what you're saying in that medical equipment business.
I totally agree with that. Everybody wants the success, but they have no idea what kind of responsibilities come with that.
Yeah.
And I say it all the time. I mean, again, and I just want to make this clear. If you're making 25 grand, 50 grand, 75, and you're happy, that's awesome. You've already won the battle of life. You're happy, you're content. That's awesome. But if you're not happy, you have to do something about it. You have to make those necessary sacrifices to get where you want to get. I mean, even to this day, I put about 30% of my gross income into marketing. I invest in myself. I invest in my business. I invest in my team. And, that's how you grow. You can't be scared. You got to stay focused on the goal and go after it with everything you have every day.
Yeah. Well, listen, two more things real quick. I want to just come back to what you just said, and then I have kind of some closing things here with you. But I think a lot of people initially will bet on themselves, but I love what you just said. Not only did you bet on yourself, but you're continuing to invest in yourself, in your company. And I find so many people that initially will bet on themselves, but then they don't reinvest back in the company. Some of them, I tell people, a lot of us want success, but a lot of times they would be horrible stewards of that success.
Right.
They don't know what to do with it. But it sounds like when success was given to you, all those little things that you did leading up to that point that allowed you to be a good steward, and in case in point, reinvesting back in your business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to be willing to invest in yourself, and that's not just in marketing, it's in mentorship.
Yeah.
It's in what you put in your head every day, what kind of content you're listening to.
Yep.
How much you're willing to put in to just learn about a certain insurance plan or a certain carrier, the network, an ancillary product that might help somebody out if they get major hospital bills or a critical illness or something like that. I mean, you have to, investing is more than just money. It's time, which in my opinion is more valuable than money.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyone that's made it real far in this business will tell you it's a grind. It's not, you can still make pretty decent money and not grind, but if you're willing to grind, sky's the limit and what you can do.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, listen, as we get ready to close, man, and you've been so gracious with your time today, and you've really just brought some valuable information. I interview different people, not only in the insurance space, the Medicare space, but home-based business and other successful people, because I have found that there's a common thread no matter what industry you're in. And so this whole channel is about success principles and leadership principles. So let's just say as we close today, there's someone out there who's watching this, and you could give them some advice, maybe whether it's them chasing their dreams for the first time, like you did 5 years ago and going after it, or maybe they're just on the verge of quitting because they haven't, made those 200 phone calls, if you will. What is some final words of wisdom that you would just give anyone in any space that they could relate to, that would help maybe just motivate them or inspire them to just go one more day or to go after their dreams?
Well, the worst experience you could possibly have in life is regret, or wondering what could have been. And Gary Vanderchuck always talks about the thing that makes him most sad in the world is going to a nursing home and seeing that 80-year-old guy that has a list a mile long of things that he wished he could have done when he was younger and healthier. So maybe you believe in reincarnation, and if you do, that's totally fine. But you get one life as the person that you are right now. You get one life to be successful. You get one life to build a legacy. You get one life to touch as many people as you can and help improve their situation. And now there's never been a better time now with technology the way it is, with social media, with all these different marketing platforms. There has never been a better time in American history to get it going. So don't let time pass you by. Get on it, get to work, put your head down, grind. You'll get where you need to be.
Bro, man, that was some good stuff right there, man. I appreciate you sharing that. Where can we find you? Are you on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram? Where are you at?
I'm on Facebook. Schaeffer Healthcare is the name. I'll have to give you the spelling on that. But SchaefferHealthcare.com is the website. Schaeffer Healthcare is the Facebook page. You can also hit me up personally if you need any pointers. I'm just generic Will Schaeffer on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you once again. And listen, as always, I want to remind you before we close today, please like, please subscribe. That way you're notified every time we drop a fresh podcast interview like this. And man, you really brought it today, Will. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I know people are going to be encouraged by this.
Well, if it helped one person, just if it motivated them to do what they need to do to take it to the next level, then it's every bit worth the time.
Yeah. And I can't think of a better way to close it. That's right. I pray that this has motivated you and inspired you to go after your dreams. I'm going to say it again. You are a winner. You deserve to win, but it's going to be up to you to take massive action today. God bless you guys, and we will talk to you soon.